Is liberalism a form of cultural imperialism? Have you ever wondered if liberalism might actually be a form of cultural imperialism? This question invites us to look closely at what liberalism means and how it interacts with cultures around the world. Liberalism is a political and moral philosophy that focuses on individual freedoms, equality before the law, and the protection of rights like free speech and privacy. It promotes open markets and democratic governance, allowing people to choose their own way of life as long as they do not harm others. On the other hand, cultural imperialism is when a dominant culture imposes its values and practices on another culture. This often leads to the erosion of local traditions. It can happen through economic, political, or media influence, and is seen as a form of control. So, how do these concepts relate to each other? From a liberal viewpoint, liberalism is not meant to be cultural imperialism. Supporters argue that liberal values like tolerance and respect for individual choice are designed to protect cultural diversity. They believe that different cultures can coexist peacefully while respecting fundamental rights. However, critics, especially those from postcolonial and postmodern perspectives, argue that liberalism can act like cultural imperialism in practice. They point out that when powerful nations or global organizations spread liberal ideas, it can undermine local traditions. For instance, international human rights standards may seem universal, but they often reflected the priorities of dominant Western societies. In practical terms, the commitment to free expression can lead to the dominance of certain cultural products, such as Hollywood films or global brands, over local alternatives. This can pressure other cultures to adopt foreign norms, even if that is not the goal of liberal ideology. Liberals respond by saying their philosophy is not about imposing one culture over another. They argue that it is about creating conditions for all cultures to flourish. They believe their institutions and policies protect minority rights and prevent any single group from dominating. Yet, the reality is more complicated. The spread of liberal ideas often coincides with economic and political power imbalances. In postcolonial critiques, the challenge is to differentiate between the universal claims of liberalism and the specific historical contexts in which these ideas are applied. Critics highlight how liberal values, when promoted by former colonial powers, can feel like a new form of cultural domination. In summary, while liberalism as an ideology is not inherently cultural imperialism, its global application can sometimes resemble it. The tension between promoting freedom and respecting local traditions is central to ongoing discussions about liberalism in a multicultural world.